Hello everyone, I am Komal Mehta, teaching as an assistant professor in CSC department in St. Andrew Institute of Technology and Management, Gurgaon. Today, we will cover these two topics of web technology, that is URL, Uniform Resource Locator, and protocols over internet. There are some protocols over internet to transfer data to manage data. So we will cover so many types of protocols in this video. Before studying all these topics, you must have to know about how internet works and what do you mean by a web server and the concept behind links on the web. I was discussed all these topics in my earlier video, so you can go through that video. After that, we are focused here. What do you mean by URL and how it works on a web? So let's start about URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. As the name suggests, it is uniform, that is, same throughout the world. It is a way to locate a resource, that is, file or a document on the internet. Every file on the internet have a unique address, and that particular address is known as a URL. To specify the address of a file, we need this particular address. The URL provide an addressing schema which allow the browser to request the particular document or a web page. If we want to fetch a particular document from a web page, then we need to know about the URL address. After that, URL is a web address of one type into the browser to get to particular web page. When a URL is entered, the website is fetched from its hosting server somewhere in the world and then transported to local internet connection and finally displayed by the browser on the user computer. It means we can say whenever we need a particular document, then we have to fetch that particular document from our personal browser, and our browser request to the server and server revert back to our browser, and that is displayed in our screen. It means user screen. There is some specific format of a URL which we have to follow. Basically, firstly, we have to know about protocol, host name, directory, and directory path. So this is the particular format of a URL. Protocol here is the first part. What do you mean by protocol? It is a set of rules, or we can say it is a way in which the web page is accessed. It may be HTTP, FTP, Gophers, HTTPS, etc. Standardly, we are using HTTP and HTTPS. After that, two colons and then backslash. After that, a host name. A host name is the name of a server on the internet on which the information is stored. It means to mention the storage server, we need know to the host name. After that, directory path. Directory path defines the path within the server where the requested item is stored. So we can say in every URL, there are the following information must be stored. Firstly, the schema or a protocol. After that, a colon and then two slash. After that, a host that normally called as a domain name. There is one new term that is called domain name. That means a IP address. After that, colon that is followed by a port number and then full path of the resource. So all these information is contained in a single URL. Here is the example of a URL which I mentioned here. Firstly, a URL is composed of different parts. All these parts are discussed earlier. After that, now I am describing the example of URL. In the previous example, you are seeing HTTP. It is a protocol. HTTP is a protocol. The first part of a URL indicate which protocol the browser must use. A protocol is a set of method for exchanging or transferring data around a computer network. After that, here the colon and then two backslash that separate the protocol from the rest of the part. Again, then www.example.com shows the domain name. It indicates which web server is being requested. It also known as IP address. After that, a port number separated by a colon. Here I am showing 80 as a port number. 80 is for HTTP and 443 is for HTTPS. Standardly, we are using HTTP for HTTPS. It indicates the technical gate used to access the resources on the web server. It usually omitted if the web server uses standard ports. The standard ports means HTTP and HTTPS. However, we can use HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, Gopher, and etc. After that, port number, the path of the file is mentioned where we want to fetch our data and the physical location of a file is placed. So here it is path /2 /myfile.html. .html is the extension of that particular file. The file is placed in the my file and path and 2 are the directories for that. Here is the path of the resource to the web server. It represented a physical file location on a web server. After that, some parameters are mentioned. This is optional. This is not mandatory. But if you want to mention any parameter for extra knowledge, then it must be contained in a pair, that is key value pair. So key must have some value. Here it is key1 is equal to value 1 and key2 is equal to value 2. The separated part of these key value pair is with the help of AND symbol, ampersand symbol we can say. This is the extra parameter provided to web server. Parameter are the list of key value pair separated with the ampersand symbol. After that, here it is anchor tag somewhere in the document hashtag. Here an anchor represent a sort of bookmark inside the resources, giving the browser the direction to show the content located at bookmarks port. It means we can say to mention any hyperlink, to mention any link on a web page, we have to use an anchor tag. With the help of this, we can switch from one page to another page within a website or out except the website. It can be implicit or it can be explicit. So this is all about URL. Now, how to use that particular URL in a web page? In HTML, to create a link in our document or in other document, we need an anchor tag. An anchor tag is mentioned with the help of a symbol in HTML, and there are some other ways to mention in different languages. To link a document with its related resources through various elements such as link or script. It means after the web page you want to merge any data or you want to fetch any data, then you can use the script tag or a link tag in this. To display media such as image, video, sound, music, or any other GUI, you can use all these tags. For image, you can use IMG tag. For video, you can use video tag. For audio, you can use audio tag, etc. To display other HTML document with the iframe element, it means to mention our data within explicit data, then we have to use iframe. After that, there are various types of a URL. Firstly, absolute URL and then relative URL. Absolute URL requires you to place the entire address on the page that you link to. It means we need to mention from the scratch to end. That is, mention the protocol, after that colon, after that two backslash, then domain name. The particular format of a URL is followed in absolute URL. we have to mention all the information required in absolute URL. Here is the example of absolute URL. A for a anchor tag, half ref for a reference is equal to, now HTTP is a protocol, after that colon, after that backslash, then domain name, and then the location of a particular page we want to search. But in relative URL, we need not to mention the full address. It is assumed that page you type is in of same site. That means we are using the particular document of a same site. Then we need not to mention about the protocol. We need not to mention about the domain name because it is similar to that particular site. So here it is a for a anchor tag, href for a reference is equal to backslash page. Here backslash page just showing the location of a particular page, not showing the file location, not showing the domain name, and not showing any other query. After that, an absolute URL contain more information in comparison of relative URL. Relative URL is more convenient because it is shorter and often more portable. But the limitation is that we are using same site, then only we can use relative URL, else we can't use relative URL. We have to use absolute URL in that scenario. Right. Now, the next topic is protocol. What do you mean by a protocol? It is a set of rules that helps in governing the way a particular technology will function for a communication. It means it is a collection of rules that help in transmission or a communication. There are various protocols used in internet. For example, TCP/IP protocol, HTTP protocol, HTTPS, FTP, Telnet, and so on. I will discuss some of them. Firstly, Transmission Control Protocol. TCP protocol is a popular communication protocol which is used for communicating over a network. It offers end-to-end packet delivery. It means it is more secure in comparison of other, as it transmits data from one end to other end. That means source to destination. It splits the message into series of packets that send from source to destination and also reassembled at destination part. There are so many layers in TCP protocol, that is 5: application layer, data link layer, physical layer, transport layer, network layer. So these layers helps in communication at client end, at server end both, by splitting the data into packets into networks and routing in proper format at the end of data transmission. It offers reliability, full, full duplex operation, multiplexing, streaming data transfer, and flow control efficiently. Now the next is Internet Protocol, that is IP protocol. It is connectionless and unreliable protocol. That's why it is not used individually. To make it more reliable, it must be paired with a reliable protocol. And one reliable protocol I discussed earlier, that is TCP protocol. That's why we most commonly use TCP IP protocol to make a reliable network. The TCP IP protocol and their services was discussed in my previous video. You can go through from that. In Internet Protocol, data is transmitted in form of datagram. Now, the next is UDP protocol. It is also similar to Internet Protocol. That means it is also a connectionless and unreliable protocol. It does not require making a connection with host to exchange data. The unreliable basically means we are not sure about the destination point, about the acknowledgement that data was transmitted
completely or not. So to make it reliable, we need reliable protocol. As there is no mechanism for ensuring the data sent is received, it also transmits data in form of datagram. This is the main ports of UDP protocol, that are source port from where we send data, destination port from where we want to send data, the length of a data, and the UDP checksum. Now, a new term is checksum here. Checksum is a value that represents the numbers of bits in a transmission message. It means it mention a particular value. That value, up to that value, we can send our data. And IT professionals helps us to detect high level error within that transmission. That means it is for confirmation whether the data is correct or not. It means for validation the data we need a checksum at some point we need some checkpoints to check whether data is correct or not. UDP is used by the application that typically transmit small amount of data at one time. UDP provide protocol port used, that is UDP message contains both source and destination port as shown in the diagram of UDP. Now the next is file transfer protocol, FTP. It is basically used to transfer files from one machine to another machine. There are any type of file we can send, that is any multimedia file, any text file, any other document, and etc. FTP creates basically two type of processes. First one is the control process and next one is the data transfer process. Here you can see when the user interface when the user interact with the user interface send data to the control process, and after the control process will access, data transfer process will transmit data to the server with the help of this control. FTP creates these two processes at both end, at client end as well as at server end, and at both end we have a storage for storage the data. After that, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is also a communication protocol. It defines the mechanism for communication between browser and a web server. It is also called request and response protocol because once we have to send a request at server end, if it will accept your request, then it will respond to your request. So that's why it is called a request response protocol. We must have a communication between them with the help of any connection, and that connection is required with the help of request response protocol. HTTP protocol request comprises of lines which contain request line, header field, and a message body. The first one is a request line that specifies the request method to the server. It will done with the help of get method and post method. After that, the second line specifies the header, which indicates the domain name of a server from where index.html is retrieved. It means if you want to send any data, firstly you must have an acknowledge whether he or she is interested to receive that data. So we have to send a request. For example, if I want to call someone, if I am calling but he don't want to pick that call, so it is up to him, not up to me, right? I'm calling, but it is not compulsory for him that he will accept, right? So once I'm requesting, it's completely depend on a server end. After that, the second is header. That means that information, if I know about him, if he know about me, then he will receive, he may or may not be received. It's completely depend on him. Now the next is HTTP response. It is similar to HTTP request. If someone is calling me, it is up to me now. I am at server end right now at response area. Whether I want to response or not, it's completely depend on me. It's not about him, right? So in similar way, it contains a status line, a header, and a message. Status line contains I am accepting or rejecting. Header means the information about the sender, and the message that I want to deliver or I want to receive. The complete HTTP protocol is described in my previous video. You can go through from that. Next is Telnet. Telnet is a protocol used to log in to the remote computer on the internet. There are a number of Telnet clients having user-friendly user interface. The following diagram shows a person is logged in to the computer A, and from there he can remote logged into the computer B. The best example of Telnet is TeamViewer. In this, we can do it at our home and access the office system from our system. Next is POP, Post Office Protocol. It is designed for receiving the incoming emails. Next, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is designed to send and distribute the outgoing emails. The complete description about the SMTP is already discussed in my previous video. So you can go through from that. And the last is Gopher. It is the collection of rules implemented for searching, retrieving, as well as displaying the document from isolated sites. It means when the different sites are independent on each other, then to search, to retrieve data from that site is done with the help of this protocol. It also works on client-server principle. One is a client and rest one is a server. To communicate with the server, there are any number of clients at a single time. This is all about these protocols. Now, about these videos, there are some short questions, some key points that I discussed. These are keywords, URL, some specific format for a URL, the types of a URL, that is absolute and a relative, some protocols that I discussed with the help of example and diagrammatic way. So you can go through from this video. This is all about today. Thank you.